attending a webinar that is being recorded, now would be your opportunity to go ahead and jump off. This is the second of a series of introductory webinars for promotional licensing that we're hosting. So they are recorded and posted on our YouTube channel, so you can always access it at that point. The first one we hosted in September, Promotional Licensing 101, is currently on our YouTube channel and can be viewed. Before we jump into the content, I wanted to go over our agenda and some housekeeping items. So we're going to start by going over some high-level basics about the FSC trademarks before moving into various ways you can use the trademarks, including a few brand examples. We will do a quick quiz to test your knowledge. Don't worry, I won't be putting anyone on the spot or anything. And then we're going to go into some specifics on using the trademarks, submitting for approval, etc. Finally, I am excited to share a new e-training that is available for promotional license holders, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. So this presentation is only going to be around 20 minutes. I want to leave plenty of time for us to be going over questions at the end. Also, I just want to note that this presentation is geared specifically towards current FSC promotional license holders. If you're a certified company or not currently a license holder, this will still be helpful information for you, but some of it may just be a little bit less specific for your use case. If you are currently not a promotional license holder and are interested in becoming one, please feel free to reach out to us after, and we would be happy to get you some information on how to start that process. And finally, just want to note that we've got a few folks from the FSC US team here. We have my colleague Kate, who helps manage the promotional licensing program, and then we have Jenna, who is our technical expert on trademarks and chain of custody. And also, before I forget, if you have questions, feel free to just put those in the chat or jot them down, and we'll address them at the end during the Q&A session. So what are the FSC trademarks? You may hear the term trademark thrown around, but what does that really mean? Within the FSC system, it refers to the name Forest Stewardship Council, the initials FSC, and the various logos you see shown here. These are all registered trademarks owned by FSC and require proper licensing and approval for use. When we talk about trademark use, we often talk about it as on product versus off product. You can see the main differences outlined here. On product trademark use can only be done by FSC certified companies, and that refers to the label and any other logo or statement using the FSC trademarks on a product or product packaging. Off product, on the other hand, would refer to using the FSC trademarks in promotional marketing that occurs not on a product. So this would be website, social media, catalogs, etc. This can be done by certified companies and promotional license holders. This is an example that kind of shows the difference between the two. This is from House of Marley. You can see on the left here, they have the FSC logo shown on the front and back of their product with an additional statement, as well as that full FSC label visible there. And then on the right, you can see that they're using the logo and the initials FSC in an off-product, promotional marketing use. Moving into what an on-product label is. So the FSC on-product label is what identifies a product or packaging as FSC certified. You can see a few examples of what that could look like here, along with the different required elements that are required for the FSC label. It's important to note that the FSC logo, which is the tree check mark with the FSC underneath it, or any other statements referring to FSC should not be on a product unless the full FSC label is also on that product. Labels on products get approved by a certified company's certification body. So promotional license holders can work with their certified suppliers on label use and how that looks on their products. Now let's dive into some ways you can highlight your FSC certified products using the trademarks. You can utilize the trademarks to clearly identify certified products on your product pages. You could create a section on your website where consumers can find all of your FSC certified products in one place and learn more about FSC. You could highlight your certified products in print catalogs as shown here. These are examples from Crate and Barrel and Williams-Sonoma. And you can use social media to help tell your FSC story. Finally, as I mentioned previously, you can work with your suppliers to make sure that the FSC logo is featured prominently on your products. This is an example from Target where you can see that logo is placed on the front of the hang tag, and then there is an additional statement along with that full label on the back of the hang tag. This is another great example showing how the FSC trademarks can be on the hang tag of a product versus on the actual product, in this case, this wooden toy radio as well. So I wanted to touch on a few real world examples. Target, continuing on from the example we were just looking at, you can see here that they had done a campaign with Levi's a couple years ago where you can see an in-store sign use of the FSC logo here, along with a mobile app corresponding use of the logo. And then on their website, if you click on Forest Stewardship Council on an FSC certified product, this pops up where you can learn more about FSC and the product. Crate and Barrel is another great example of a web presence highlighting not only their certified products and where you can shop their FSC certified products, but also their sustainability goals around FSC. And they also highlight their 2023 Leadership Award. And finally, this is another example from House of Marley. You can see examples here spanning from, again, on-product trademark use to a social media post and other web uses of the trademarks to highlight and promote their certified products. Okay, quiz time. So now that you've seen some real world examples, and before we get into some technical rules around the trademarks, let's test your knowledge. So I'm going to put a question up. I'll give you a few seconds to jot down your answer, get it in your head before we go over the answer together. I'm not going to call on anyone or put you on the spot. However, if you feel so inclined to answer, you can raise your hand and Kate can help me identify and give you the floor. But this is just meant to be sort of a fun little interactive way for you to see kind of what your base knowledge of the FSC trademarks is going into this. So question number 1, which example shown here is in accordance with the promotional license holder trademark use guide? And again, I will give you a couple seconds of silence to think through, and then we'll go over the answer. Okay, so the answer for this one is C. So going through these other ones as to why they are incorrect, the first one, you can see this is the Forest for All Forever brand mark, but you can see it was edited so that the FSC logo is not included, which would not be allowed. B is pretty straightforward. The logo is clearly distorted and squished, which is not allowed. And then finally, D, this is an example of a promotional panel that promotional license holders have access to. You can see this one, however, was edited so that part of it is tilted, which is, again, not allowed. Okay, question number 2. True or false? You can describe all FSC certified products in the same way, regardless of if they are FSC mix, FSC 100%, or FSC recycled. Again, I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so the answer to this one is false. Different FSC claims need to be described in different ways. A tip is you can find examples of what that could look like in Annex A of the Trademark Use Guide. So the rationale behind this is whether a product is FSC mix, 100% or recycled, there are different eligible inputs that go into those products, so they need to be described differently. It's a nuance, but an important one for those products. Question number 3, what is wrong with the image shown here? And for this, please assume that the FSC license code is visible somewhere accompanying this image. So again, I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so the issue with this image is that the minimum blank space around the FSC logo is not being adhered to. Bonus points if you knew that that minimum space must equal the height of the letters FSC. So this text is just too close to the logo, and that would be not allowed. Okay. Question number 4. True or false, as a promotional license holder, you can say the following: we are proud to be FSC certified. Again, I'll give you a couple seconds to think through. So the answer to this one is false. As a promotional license holder, you are not FSC certified and are not allowed to make any statements making it seem like you are. So a tip when referencing FSC certification is make it clear that it is your products that are made as FSC certified. Your company is not certified. And the last question, what is missing from the text shown here on the right? And for this one, again, please assume that the license code is already listed somewhere and assume that this is the first or most prominent use of the name Forest Stewardship Council and the initials FSC. So again, I will give you a second to think your answer through. Okay. So there should be the proper registration mark, which would be either the TM symbol or the circle R symbol after Forest Stewardship Council and FSC. So a tip here is to determine which registration mark to use. You can reference the registration list that is found in the trademark portal. It is listed by country. So what you would do is you would find the country where the promotion that you are working on will occur, and then select the registration symbol indicated. For text, for Stewardship Council and FSC in the US, that would be the circle R. If you are doing promotion in multiple countries or global, you would revert to the lowest trademark symbol, which typically would be the TM. However, you can double check that in the registration list, and we are always happy to help interpret and advise on what registration mark to use. Okay, I hope you had a little bit of fun with that quiz. Get a little baseline for where you're at. We're going to go into a few specifics about using the FSC trademarks next. So as a promotional license holder, you receive access to the various FSC logo files, as well as the trademark portal, where you can download your unique promotional panel as shown here. The various logo files have different required elements when used in promotion. Again, you can see this here. This table can be found in the trademark use guide. The full promotional panel is always a great asset to utilize, and we always recommend using it where you can. However, many brands prefer to just use the standalone FSC logo and their license code to better align with different branding aspects of their brand. So that is allowed, but again, just always make sure that you're referencing this trademark use guide for the specifics around what needs to be included when you're using the logo. How to describe FSC. I have a few examples here. Again, all of these and more can be found in the trademark use guide. These are just some general statements on how you can describe FSC and the products that you sell. We're also always happy to work with you to wordsmith different statements that you would like to use in your brand as you're describing your FSC certified products. Some common trademark mistakes to avoid. So many of these we kind of highlighted in that quiz that we just did. One often, forgotten item is that license code. So as a promotional license holder, you have a unique license code. It is FSC-N followed by 6 digits. That N stands for non-certificate holder, identifying you as a promotional license holder. This license code needs to be included in any standalone promotions you do. So for example, if you have a print catalog where you're going to be identifying your certified products, your license code needs to appear in that catalog. On your website, it only needs to appear once on your website. So that could be on a sustainability page where you talk about FSC. It could be in a footer so that it shows up on every page. That's up to you, but it does need to appear at least once. And in social media, it does not need to be included in your social media posts if your social media post and/or account links back to your website where that code is visible. I always recommend companies use this code more often than not. This is the piece of information that identifies you as a verified FSC promotional license holder and lends you that credibility. So I always recommend using it more often than not, so that consumers can see that you are a verified FSC promotional license holder. We just talked about this one, but forgetting the proper registration mark after the first and/or most prominent use of FSC and Forest Stewardship Council in text is often a mistake we see. Using the FSC logo on a patterned background that does not allow for proper legibility is another common mistake. So you can technically use the logo on a patterned background if it is extremely clear and legible. You can see in the example shown here that that is not the case. The background is interfering with the legibility of the logo, so that would not be approved. If you want to put it on a patterned background, we recommend you put a colored square around the logo as shown in the second example here, just to make sure that there isn't any issue with seeing the logo. If you submit us an example where the logo is placed on a pattern background, it will be up to us to kind of determine if that legibility is enough or not for approval. And then finally, we touched on this as well, but this is a nice little graphical representation showing that the minimum clear space around the FSC logo needs to be adhered to at all times, and it's equal to the height of the letters FSC. Trademark usage approval. So anytime that a promotional license holder wants to use the FSC trademarks in marketing, it must be approved by FSC US. And you can see the basic steps here. So it's very important to make sure that you are reviewing the trademark use guide while you're creating your assets. This is going to help streamline the approval process. It gives you all of the different requirements for using the trademarks in promotion. So it's important that you're reviewing that. Once you have your assets created, you send it to our team via email. This can be a screenshot, a mock-up, an attachment, anything that is showing us what this trademark use is going to look like. We ask that you allow up to a week for approval. If you have a specific timeline that you're working with, please make us clear of that timeline as well. We can make quick turnarounds for approval if necessary. We understand that sometimes things come up and you need something approved very quickly, but we do ask that you give us as much time as possible for approvals. And lastly, I'm excited to highlight a new e-training that is available for promotional license holders. This online training is specifically designed to help you and your teams quickly integrate into the FSC promotional licensing program and master the use of the FSC trademarks. So this course will cover every essential aspect of using the trademarks in your promotions, including many of the things we talked about today. And this will help simplify and speed up the approval process. If you are submitting things that are in line with the requirements, it'll make the approval process that much quicker, as there won't be back and forth required. There's a brief quiz at the end of this training to test your newfound knowledge, and the entire training, including the quiz, only takes about 45 minutes to complete. If you score at least 80% on the quiz, you will get a certificate of completion. And this is a completely free e-training for FSC promotional license holders. This is an exclusive benefit to you as a promotional license holder. this is information on how you register. You should have received all of this information from us previously in an email, but feel free to reach out if you don't have that information. In that email, there will be a code that you can type in once you create your account at the eTraining site, and that will allow you to enter in the course free of charge. So again, if you did not receive this information, please feel free to reach out to us and we can get you that information so you can go ahead and take this training. I highly recommend having everyone on your team who is potentially involved in FSC using the trademarks to take this training. It is going to be super helpful and really just kind of interactively walks through the different requirements for using the trademarks and is a very valuable tool for your teams. So with that, that is all I have for you in terms of prepared content. So I would love to open up the floor for any questions or comments that you might have. You can feel free to put a question in the chat, or if you want to, I think you can raise your hand and we can call on you and you can unmute and, you know, say your question as well. Again, we've got Jenna here, who is a wonderful technical resource for any trademark question. So please feel free to take this time. I'll give you a few seconds to think of a question if you haven't already. And if you prefer to ask your questions not in a forum like this, on the next slide, I will make sure to have my email, Kate's email, and Jenna's email listed so that you can feel free to reach out to us directly. I know it's not always, you don't always want to ask your questions in a public forum, so that is always an option as well. But I will give you guys another few seconds. If there are any questions, again, please feel free. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and get our emails shown up and we can wrap up and give you guys some time back on your Wednesday.
I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
To confirm, the images of the FSC logo that's printed on like the unicartons, you guys would like to see those images once the product has been in production or prior with the just like the artwork image.
Yep. So that would be an on-product use. And what if you can share that with us, that is super helpful during the product approval process, just so that we can see that the product does indeed carry the FSC label. Again, that would be something that your certified supplier would get approval from their certification body on. But for the promotional licensing purpose, yes, when available, we do like to see that.
And does it need to be for each product, or would just like a general template of how it's usually printed on all of our products work?
A general template would usually be fine. We just want to get an idea that the label is being used correctly. So if it's going to be appearing the same way on every product, that would be fine. It doesn't need to be every single product.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so I'm feeling like we're not going to have many more questions, which is completely fine. Again, let me get our emails up here for you. We'll pause on this for a bit so you guys can jot them down if you don't have them already. You can feel free to reach out to any of us. Kate and I will be your main contacts for promotional licensing specifically. So we should always be, the first ones you reach out to. However, if you have a chain of custody question or a technical question, I put Jenna's email up here as well for you. Again, this webinar is recording, so we will go ahead and get this put up on our YouTube channel at some point. And so you can always come back and reference this. If you have any questions about what we went over, please feel free to let us know. Jenna or Kate, anything I missed that you want to highlight? Okay. Wonderful. Well, then everyone, you get some time back in your Wednesday. I really appreciate everyone who joined us. I hope this was helpful. Again, any questions or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us.
Before we get off, there was one in the chat from Jess about trademark use management systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we don't have any in the US that have been approved, but they have been used globally, to answer your question. And that was the only outstanding question I saw.
Wonderful. Great. Okay, again, if anything comes up, please feel free to let us know. We'll go ahead and end this one for today. So thank you again for joining, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday.